So this is the architecture of the lab which we are going to discuss today. So here we will be creating two virtual network. One will be virtual network 01 and one will be virtual network 02. Inside it, we will be creating one subnet in each of the virtual network and one virtual machine inside each subnet. And then we'll establish a peering connection between these two virtual networks. We'll try to ping each of these VM from inside these VMs by using the private IP, and we'll see if the communication takes place or not. So for the lab, I've signed in portal.azure.com and I am inside the azure.com home. For creating the virtual network, I will be searching the resource and I will be typing virtual networks. Here I will be hitting on the create. Here you can see virtual network will be creating under the subscription and further under the resource group. And as I told you, we can create multiple subscription. So here I am choosing this subscription. So here I will be creating a new resource group. I will name it as a demo RG. Virtual network, I will be naming it as a vnet01. As region, I will be going with the ECS. Now, IP addresses of the site range part. Site range, it is saying 10.0.0.16. So you can see 65.536 addresses are available. So as I told you, 2 to the power 16 addresses are available. You can change this address, but as of now I will be keeping it default for this particular virtual network. And also you can see it is deploying one subnet. So here the name is default and this is the site range, and here it is /24. So 32 minus 24 will be 8 and 2 to the power 8 will be 256 address. And if you want, you can change the name of it, but I am keeping it as the default as of now. Click on next, next, and it will run a brief validation that everything is correct, and then we will be hitting on the create button. So our deployment is in progress. So in the meantime, we will be creating a second virtual network. So I will be keeping it under the same subscription and same resource group. Here I will be naming it as a vnet02 and I will be keeping the location same. Click on next. I will be going with the default. Here it's giving us the same site range. But when you will do the virtual peering, what will happen? So when you will assign the same site range, there will be a conflict which site range of which IP address belong to which particular virtual network. So in that case, it won't allow us. So I have to choose a different site range, then only I will be able to establish a peering between these two virtual networks. I will choose this 10100 site range, and here so it's saying this CIDR range doesn't belong to virtual network address space. So we have to change this as well. Click on save, click on next. You can assign the different type of tags. With the help of tags, you can identify various kind of resources or the information about it. Second biggest advantage of the tag is when you do billing of your Azure invoice. You can segregate the resources whether for some information purpose or whether it is for billing. What some organization do, so they implement some policies in the Azure that you cannot create any particular resource until unless you specify the particular tag and particular value for it. So we'll be discussing the tag further in some other lecture. So I will go with the next and it will quickly run the validation. So everything looks good. So I will be hitting on the create button. So this period will take a minute or so. Till that time I am pausing this video. We'll go in home and we'll click in virtual networks. We have both the virtual networks available. If I go to the vnet01, Here you can see what is the resource group name, under which resource group it is, what is the location, subscription, and what is the address space or IP CIDR range it is using, and also some other things. And if you see, here is the peering in the left hand side menu. So there is currently no peering. That means this virtual network is not connected to any other virtual network till now. So we'll create this later. First, what we'll do, we'll go to the home and we'll deploy one virtual machine. So again, I'm choosing it demo RG, and virtual machine, I will be naming it as a VM01. Region I have to keep it same, otherwise I won't be able to choose the virtual network which has created in the East US. Availability option we are going to discuss in some other video. This is to ensure your virtual machines remain available. Same goes with the security type. I will be going with the default. Image type I will be choosing Windows Server 2016 data center. But you can also look for other images. So if I click on this, here I can see what are the different images available, and also you can filter those images based on the operating system and publisher type if you want to go only with the Microsoft or with the Azure partners, and you can see the pricing of this particular virtual machine. So I will be charged on the hourly basis. So if I stop my virtual machines after deploying, then I will be saving some cost. Of course, whatever the underlying storage for the disk storage and other storage it will be using underneath it, it will be chargeable, but it will be very much lower if I keep my virtual machines running. And also you can see the size. I am going with the standard B2S, which contains two virtual CPs and 4 GB of memory. And if you will go with other sizes, you can see the cost of these will increase accordingly. Here I want to choose first Windows Server 2016 data center. Now comes the inbound port rules. So what is this? Basically, it creates a network security group. Network security group is something like where you define various security rules to allow the inbound or the outbound communication on the port level. So suppose you don't want to allow some RDP, you don't want any communication on the port number 3389, which is the default port for the remote desktop, then I can disallow or I can allow the communication, inbound communication as well as the outbound communication. And same goes with the ping, that means ICMP packet, and same with the other port. Like for the SSH port in the Linux machine, you can block or allow port number 22. This feature is called network security group. You can attach this network security group to the subnet table, or you can attach it to the virtual machine network interface card. As of now, I will be allowing the port 3389 so that I can RDP to this particular machine. So here it is saying RDP service 3389 is the port. So I am allowing the inbound communication. This type I will be going with the standard SSD. Key management we'll discuss later. Virtual network vnet01 and subnet. I will be going with this one, and also from here I can create a new virtual network. I can define the address range or the subnet from here itself, but I will be going with the existing network and the subnet, and it will be allocating a public IP to this machine. So public IP is a separate resource in Azure, so it will be named as VM01 IP. So here I will be assigning so that I can RDP to this machine from my workstation. Otherwise, I won't be able to connect, because if I want to use a private IP, I need to create a private tunnel by using the point to site or site to site connection. Then only I will be able to use a private IP. So till that time, I have to use the public IP. Network security group, I will be going with the basic RDP 3389 is fine. And these all options I am keeping it as a default. We'll be discussing in the future lectures. I'm not mentioning any tags. And once the validation is successful, I will just quickly verify the things and will hit on create. So this will take a minute or so. So in the meantime, I will go back to the home and virtual machines and I will be creating a second virtual machine. This also I will be keeping it under the same SL group. Location I will be keeping the same. Everything default. Virtual network this time I will be choosing vnet 02. So our both the VMs have been created. If I click on refresh, I can see both the VMs have been created. So let me open both the virtual machine in different tab. So now if I go to the VM01, inside this VM I can see the various detail like what is the operating system and what is the size of this machine, resource group, etc. And if you see on the left hand side menu, if I go to the networking, here I can see something called network security group. 3389, the port is allowed. So these are created by default in this for every NSG. So lower the number of the NSG rule, higher will be the priority. So 300 will be the lowest number. So that means it has the highest priority and this will be taken into consideration. So it will override all the existing rule which has the lower priority or that means higher number. Allow vnet inbound, that means communication inside any virtual network from VM01 to VM02 or within the subnet. It's allowed by default. Until unless you create another NSG rule to override it, it will be allowed by default. You can create just simply by clicking on this, and source type you can choose various sources and destination, and you can choose the source port ranges here, and here service you can choose any custom type HTTP, and also you can give the destination port, protocol any, and you can give the priority number and give the name. And also if you see all the vnet outbound is allowed because this is the lowest number and this is allowed by default. So again these three particular NSG rules are created by default for every NSG whenever you create it. So let's go back to the overview and hit on connect. So click on select under the native RDP and click on download RDP file. Click on connect. Enter the username and the password and click on OK. For the second machine, I will be doing the same thing and will click on OK. command to allow the ICMP package from the IPv4 addresses. So I will be putting this command in the description as well. So let me paste it here. This is done, and this is also done. So this is VM02. Let me go to the VM01, and I am in VM01, and the IP address of this is 10.0.0.0.4. So if I try to ping this machine, I won't be getting any response back. Same if I go to the VM01 and go to the overview of VM02 and copy the private IP address. Here also I won't be getting any response. So I can't communicate with this private IP until unless I establish a peering connection between them. So what I will do now, I will go back to the home and to the virtual network. I can choose either of them. So let me go to the vnet01 and click on peering. If I click on this here, one peering connection will be created vnet01 to vnet02, and here another peering connection will be created in the remote virtual network. That means vnet02 to vnet01. So it will be bi-directional communication. vnet01 to vnet02. And here I will be choosing vnet, and I'm giving allow access to the remote virtual network, and I'm keeping everything as a default. I don't want to check any boxes. Anyway, these are required for the site-to-site connection, and when you create a hub and spoke model, so which we are going to discuss in the very next video. So keep watching this space. And here I will be choosing the vnet02. Click on it. So you can see it has added two connections. First vnet01 to with vnet02, and here also if you see, here also one connection to the 02 to 01 is automatically added. Now if I go and will try to ping, I am getting the response back from the virtual machine. And in the similar manner, here also I am getting the response back. Please note down that we have not added any security rule in the network security group, because this is not required, because once the peering is enabled, so vnet01 and vnet02 both, or whatever the resources inside both the virtual networks, so they came under same virtual network, and virtual network to virtual network communication is already allowed by default. So we don't need to add any particular security rule in network security group. But if we are going to ping from the outside world, then we have to create a security rule. Let me go back to the VM01 and click on the overview. And here, let me copy this private IP and try to ping this machine from my workstation. So I'm not getting any response back. So what I will do, I will go under networking, will add a inbound port rule. Source is any, source port range is any, destination is any, it's fine. And here I will be changing this to the ICMP and will hit on add. Now my security rule is created. Now if I go to my CMD and if I try to again run this ping command, I am able to ping because once we have allowed this communication, it is allowing us to ping the particular virtual machine. Now comes the cleanup part. As I told you, we can directly delete all the resources which we have created by deleting the resource group. So let me go back to this my demo RG and click on this demo RG. Copy the name of this resource group to confirm. Apply force delete. So you can see all these resources have been created without the resource group. How difficult for me to search for these resources and to delete these ones. So virtual machine as well as the IPs which are associated with these virtual machines, this, the network interface, NSG, and of course the virtual network. So I'm pasting this name to confirm and click on delete. So it will take few seconds. So now our resource group is deleted, and here you can see I'm already logged out of these virtual machine because they have been deleted. And if I click on this, refresh, no resources here. And if I go to the resource group, there is no demo RG. This marks the end of our lab today. I hope you have enjoyed this lecture and learned many things from it. So please do provide your feedback. So thank you for watching and have a nice day ahead. Thank you.